House rules when it comes to being an Airbnb host is something that helps shape your guest experience. And this is going to be the best thing for both you, your guests, and also your neighbors. If you don't have adequate house rules in place, things can get out of hand, which might compromise your relationship with future guests, your relationship with the apartment complex if you're doing rental arbitrage, or your neighbors if you're renting out a house. That's why in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 things that are good to include in your house rules that will help set a healthy set of guidelines that will help both your guests and yourself. So let's get into it. We're going to be talking about being an Airbnb host and 10 things that you should include in your house rules. For those of y'all that want to know my history with the Airbnb platform, I've been doing rental arbitrage for about a few months now, and I feel the need to share my experience with you, the audience, because I had a lot of questions, a lot of concerns when I first got started, and some of the stuff that I figured out was through trial and error. So I'd rather y'all just skip that part and just go towards making profit. And also just start off with the best experience possible because you have all the knowledge that you need. With that being said, I am an open book, so if you want to check out any of my properties, you can do so by clicking on the link in the description below. And if you ever come into the DFW, stands for Dallas-Fort Worth area, and you're looking for a short-term rental, feel free to shoot me an inquiry and I can get you a discount on one of my properties when you stay in Dallas. With that being said, I'd like to set some ground rules when it comes to house rules. So right off the bat, I don't want y'all to just look at my video on house rules. Look around on this platform and find as much information as you can on setting your own house rules. I mean, look at Airbnb Automated, look at other short-term rental YouTube channels, because house rules are going to vary depending on your style of management, how much you want to get involved, how much you want to make, and what you want the guest experience to be like. I have no idea what that looks like in your mind. I just want to provide things that I include in mine to provide some inspiration for you, and if you want to, you can include those in yours. But be sure to check out other people who have made videos about what to include in your house rules. So the first thing is to clearly define what quiet time is. And for those of y'all that don't know what quiet time is basically the hours that you're letting your guests know that it's unacceptable to make a certain amount of noise, be noisy. This is more so to save your relationship with your apartment complex if you're doing rental arbitrage. And if y'all don't know what that is, check this video out. I go into details on what that is and how I got started with Airbnb. But it's also to save your relationship with your neighbors, because if they start complaining, if you're in a house, that could become a problem for the neighborhood, and you don't want that. And if you're in an apartment, it could compromise your lease, because if people are complaining next door, they might not renew your lease. So I have my quiet time hours set between 10 p.m. and 8 a.m. That means that during those hours, guests are supposed to be quiet and not excessively nosy. And I have in my house rules that if I get a complaint about noise, there's going to be a fee attached to it. And if I get a complaint again, you're basically that's grounds for immediate removal of the property without refund. I take quiet time hours very seriously, as should you, because if someone is getting rowdy in your place, it could compromise your renewing of your lease, or even get you vacated if it's serious enough. So make sure you clearly define quiet time hours. Second thing in my house rules is to notify me immediately if something breaks or if furniture is stained. So the worst thing that I want to do as a host is to have to charge a guest some kind of additional cleaning fee because they broke something or spilled something on the furniture. Now, that's not to say that that's not going to happen if they tell me about it, but it's going to 100% happen if I just go into the unit, or my housekeeper goes into the unit, and they find that something has been broken or something like that. If they tell me about it, maybe depending on what kind of mood I'm in and how big or small the issue is, maybe I'll let it slide because they were just upfront telling me about it. But if they don't, then they're definitely gonna get charged that fee. But sometimes if they tell me about it immediately, the situation can be saved. Like if there's a spill on something, the longer it's there, the harder it's gonna be to get out. So if I can go, or if I can send someone to clean that up real quick, Maybe the furniture itself could be saved, but if it can't, that's when a fee is going to be associated with it. So just tell me when something goes wrong, and we'll just evaluate the situation from there. So that's a good thing to include in your house rules. Tip number 3, or the third thing you should include, is no smoking. Even if you're a smoker, you don't want your unit smelling like smoke, because most guests and most people in general just aren't going to like the smell. And that smell could be a pain in the butt to actually get rid of if someone does smoke in your unit. You may have to rent an ozone machine, and if it's more serious, you may have to hire a third-party company to detail and clean the walls off, which is pretty expensive. So I recommend that you include no smoking in your house rules, and I do also recommend that you have some kind of fee associated with if they break that rule, because just putting no smoking might not be good enough. You need to have some kind of fee to incentivize people not to do it. And God forbid if it does happen, you can show Airbnb that it was in your house rules, and that will assist in you recouping money from that customer. The fourth thing that you want to include in your house rules is permission to enter. And what that translates to is, let's say there's something wrong with the property that isn't up to your levels of satisfaction. If you tell me that, then you're basically giving me authorization to come in and fix the problem. And I word it specifically like this in my house rules. I'll put a screenshot on the video so you can exactly see my wording, but I'm paraphrasing here. I say, by letting me know that if something isn't up to your standards with the property, you're authorizing me, a member of my team, or the maintenance staff of the apartment complex to come in and fix the problem. So why do I word it like that? You don't want to just authorize yourself to go in there, because as you grow, you might start building a team. And if you've only said you can go in there and you send your team member in there, that could be a problem. And you also want to include your maintenance staff. And this could take a few different forms. If you're with an apartment complex, they have their own maintenance staff most likely, and you need to let them know that they can go in and fix the problem. And if you don't, well, you may have your own contractors that you hire for third-party issues, like let's say the washer is broken or whatever, and you get it replaced. They may be the ones that actually go in there and install it. So you need to make it known that your maintenance staff or maintenance staff can access the property upon a problem too. This needs to be clearly defined in your house rules. Number 5, and this is a no-brainer, but no parties. Unless your unit is, unless your house, because that's the only situation I can really see this applying to, but unless your house is set up to specifically deal with parties and that's the demographic you're catering to, that's one thing. But for most people, parties are just not acceptable. The chances of your place getting destroyed are extremely high, and you need to have it in your house rules that that's just not allowed. Now, if you want to go that party city route, we want to help people host events and stuff, that's another thing, but make sure that unit is specifically set up for that, and do some research on how to set things up and all that. I can help you with that. I'm just letting you know, in your house rules, just put no parties. Number 6 is to make sure you put in the house rules to lock the door at checkout. You'd be surprised that a lot of people, it doesn't click to do this, but they don't lock the door at checkout. And the last thing you want is for your door to be open, wide open, or even just unlocked, because someone could just go in there and steal something. We don't want that, so make sure you have this in your house rules. In fact, I have a standard message I send the day before checkout, and part of that, like, hey, thanks for booking with me, it's kind of like a checklist of things that they should do when they're checking out the next day. And one of those things is make sure you lock the door. So be sure to include this in your house rules, because if you don't, you may regret it. Number 7 is to not include any third-party bookings. So that means that whoever is booking needs to be the one at the property. It's not like a situation where like the guest books, but someone else is going to stay, because that could be a means that the guest who's staying there is bypassing the whole screening process by Airbnb. Let's say their guest that was kicked off the Airbnb platform because they threw a party or something, and now they're relying on their cousin's account to be able to do it or something. That could be a scenario. And another reason is it just makes things just more sloppy in general, and the risks are just higher of like something going wrong if you do this. Like scenarios where something would go wrong and the guest is staying there and they're on the property, that's just standard protocol. You can go ahead and enact whatever the next part in your protocols is. With someone else staying there, it's going to be an obstruction of doing that. So just don't allow any third-party bookings. Whoever's name is on the reservation is a person who needs to be staying there, or at least they need to be one of the guests staying there. And speaking of number of guests, that leads us to number 8, which is the number of guests should not exceed the number on the booking. So if your unit holds 3 guests, for instance, there should be a maximum of 3 guests that were booked. In fact, you know what? Let's take that back. Let's just say that there's just one person that booked and it says 1 guest. They shouldn't be bringing a friend or someone to stay there too. If they do, they need to submit an alteration request to increase the number of guests there. This is for liability reasons, so if something happens, you can hold the person there on the booking accountable. And you should also make it known that if they are going to have visitors, that they need to run it by you first. Now, a visitor is someone that may come by and visit, but they're not actually going to sleep over. There's a big difference. But you need to make it known that the number of guests that are on the booking needs to be the number of people that are staying there. Just plain and simple. The 9th thing that's good to include is take off your shoes at the door and don't walk around the property with shoes on. Now, this is one of those things where it's not really readily enforceable unless you have cameras in your place, which I don't recommend because then you have to disclose it, and it may deter bookings. But that's another topic altogether. This is something that you don't really have any way of seeing if they're doing it or not, but a lot of people read it. They may actually not do it, and it will assist your cleaning staff or you if you're doing the cleaning, because you got 2 scenarios. Either you have a wooden floor or a carpet. If you have a wooden floor, then this is going to avoid them tracking like mud throughout your place, and maybe pebbles get stuck inside your shoe that it may scrape up the floors. It can just avoid all that if there's take the shoes off at the door. If you have carpet, it'll just make cleaning that carpet a lot easier, and it will just increase the lifetime value of that carpet. I mean, eventually carpet will need to be replaced, but who wants to do that sooner than later? So this is a simple rule that would save you a lot of time on a cleanup and also increase the longevity of the floors in your property. And the 10th and final thing that I think you should include is define early and late checkout fees. Now, first, you need to decide if you want to charge them or not. I personally do. If you want to know more details on that, check out this video where I talk about how to do late checkout. And I kind of go into details on why I charge a late checkout fee and how that works. But assuming that you do, it needs to be in your house rules. And if you do this, I suggest you do it in the following manner. You should mention that there's going to be a fee, but don't say what it is. Because at some point, you may decide to change the fee. And the fee could also vary depending on the place. Like if your place is bigger, it's going to take longer to clean. So maybe that fee would be bigger than, let's say, cleaning a studio apartment. So I don't necessarily like to put the fee amount. I just let them know the amount upon them requesting. And I always say a screenshot's on the screen so you can see it. But I say it's subject to approval. So like if you want to get early or late checkout, letting me know ahead of time increases the chances of that approval, but it's not guaranteed. So those are some things to include when it comes to early and late checkout. I know I said I had 10 tips for y'all, but I just thought of one right off the cuff, so this is a bonus tip. But you need to have fees in place in your house rules for when someone has not vacated the property upon checkout. So I give people a 20-minute grace period in case they're running behind. That's when the housekeeper is going to go in there and start cleaning. If they're still there, then that's when I start the process of letting them know that, hey, we really need to get in there and clean the property. You need to get out. And once the hour is passed from the actual checkout time, which in my case is 11 a.m., that's when a $50 fee is incurred, and every hour that you stay in the property past that is an additional $50, and it's in my house rules. So if you want that to be enforceable and you want to get that from the customer at some point later, you want to put it in your house rules, because when you start a resolution with Airbnb, it needs to be clearly stated in your house rules, otherwise they're not going to do anything for you. Another benefit to having this in your house rules is it will just incentivize people to stay on schedule. I mean, generally speaking, I've only had one situation where a guest was not checked out on time and they ended up checking out an hour and some change later. And of course, did the resolution on that, and that was the whole thing. But I think part of the reason I've only dealt with that one time is because it's in my house rules. People probably read it and realized, oh, that's not gonna be, and they got out on time. In fact, a lot of people actually check out a little early. They're usually out by like 11 or 10:30. So just having it in your house rules will just help your operations go smoother. And if your operations are interfered with by a late checkout, you can either recoup some of that money that may be lost by inconveniencing another guest, since your cleaning crew may not be able to finish in time. You might have to tell them to wait. Or even if you do manage to finish cleaning in time and it doesn't disrupt your schedule for the day, they still inconvenienced you. There should be a fee attached to that. What that is up to you, but I would clearly put it in the house rules. That does it for this video. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you have an interest in becoming an Airbnb host, you can click on the link in the description or the pinned comment. Full disclosure, that is an affiliate link and it does go towards supporting the channel. If you have any other video suggestions that you want to see about Airbnb and being an Airbnb host, let me know that in the comment section too, and we'll see about turning that into a video. Catch you in the next time. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell notification if you want to be notified when I drop another video. And giving a thumbs up on this video is much appreciated if you found value in it. Catch you next time. Don't forget to get out there and take control of your financial destiny.